Hi friends, welcome to my bedroom. I want to talk a bit about non-duality and what the spiritual understanding of that has done for me, and also a little bit of confusion that I had. Confusion that was arising about sharing this message. So I go to Zoom meetings with non-dual teachers such as, well, my favourites are Anna Brown and Tony Parsons. They're being my favourites, even though they make basically no concessions, which I understand. So no concessions means they always say this isn't a teaching. They say there's nothing to be gained from this understanding, the general understanding being that this apparent world is nothing appearing as something, and the appearance of you and I are kind of just that, appearances. And as per all non-dual teachings, that the personal, the I, the me, is an illusion. So, in fact, I'm going to ask Anna this question in our next Zoom meeting. But I've always liked helping people. So the apparent me likes helping people who are suffering in the way that I used to suffer. And that's fine that people are suffering. Suffering is fine. It's part of the one, the divine, appearing apparently as suffering. And only the me, the fault, the self-illusion of me, finds that problematic. It is perfection arising as that. So there's no problem with it. But if you ask a non-duality teacher who does not make concessions why they eat chocolate in the moment, they will say that there are preferences that arise within them, or preferences arise in that piece of energy that is them, in that part of energy. So that helped me see then that one of my preferences is not to see people in the contracted energy that I was living in. So one of my preferences is to try and help them. Now, it may be that just talking purely about how I see things, how things are, might help some people, but I don't think so. They will also say that it's not a path, it's not a journey. And that, while that may be true, when asked if somebody could be born in a completely non-dual state, which we all are in fact, but then stay there and never fall into the illusion of self, they all tend to say, probably, but I've never seen it happen. So although there's not specifically a path, it seems to me that most people who have, and I'm going to say this loosely, found the level of peace and freedom and liberation that I have, and it seems that these people have as well, were on a spiritual path of some sort when they got there. And I guess, I don't know, but this is how it's appearing to me, is that they were suffering, they were looking, they were in seeking energy. which is just energy appearing as seeking energy. And things started to come off that energy. It started to uncontract. Opposite of contract is expand, I suppose, but uncontract that energy. And that's definitely what happened for me. So I was suffering big time. Psychological abuse as a child, and actually as an adult as well, as a young adult. And all the things I started learning took me, it's kind of like, you're like, this doesn't work, forget that. This doesn't work, forget that. It's kind of like dieting. You're like, oh, Weight Watchers doesn't work, forget that. Slimming World doesn't work, forget that. It must be motivation. Go on a motivation course. That didn't work. Go on a discipline course. That didn't work. And just gradually things, you kind of like almost run out. This is how it happened to the story of Chris. In the story of Chris, is that I think it's possible that that piece of contracted energy comes to a point where it just clears away. It becomes, the truth becomes apparent. And they're all just words, and they all don't mean anything. And it's kind of a mystery, and it can't be explained. And of course, the human mind wants to put science to it and everything, and an instruction manual for everything. But this piece of energy here doesn't like seeing people suffer. So I like to speak to people and help them. But I can't see how it is particularly helpful to just go straight to people and say, there's just one thing, kind of like blast one piece of energy just appearing as whatever it appears as in the moment. It's all perfect. Like, that is how it is. That's how I see it. But I can't see how that would help somebody suffering. And I prefer not to see people suffer, especially people in my circle. In fact, anyone, once I've spoken to them, I don't like to see them suffering. And I know that it appears to me that the more you hang around with somebody who has fallen into non-duality, completely into non-duality, but they kind of meet you where you are. One of my old business coaches, he always used to say to me, Chris, just meet people where they are. Then the more you can help them. Now, if these non-concessionary, that's what concessionary means. It means like not being so, I don't know what the right words are, so strict on how it really is, how the one really is, but rather meeting people where they are and helping them to dissolve some of the bullshit that's going on for them. And I remember one of my business coaches, Jamie Smart actually it was, said to me, just meet people where they are. How did it work for you? This was actually about something else, but how did it work for you? Don't tell them the end point. And that's the funny thing, I know there is no kind of end point. And it doesn't, and everything that's going on doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me that people are suffering. I just have a preference in this energy not to see people suffering. So I have decided to now talk to people about non-duality and everything else from a point of meeting them where they are and taking concessions or giving concessions. I don't even know what the right word is for that, but not being completely strict on it, which I had gone down that line a bit. But helping people right where they are now. And I believe this. Like, I believe the energy. Actually, I can't believe it. But it does appear that the energy of a story often sees this in the end. So even when the human body dies, that story dies. It seems that we sort of hear stories where that energy in that moment gives up the story and kind of sees that nothing matters. And it seems that that story always dies in peace, even if that is the first time that it's felt it, that story has found peace. But when I see people suffering, I think, well, why wait? So yeah, I shall talk more about this in future videos. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Take care.